Hello, everybody. Good day. My name is Hanif and welcome to Mastermind number 76. It is March 25th, 2024 on this beautiful day. I don't know where exactly you are. It's snowing outside. So if I can say it's a beautiful day and I'm from an island, then, you kind of just have to accept it's a beautiful day. So welcome to episode number 76 in our Rich Dad, Poor Dad and our webinar and our mastermind. Today, we have getting started here in chapter 7 in Rich Dad Poor Dad on that journey to your financial freedom or just having a better relationship with money. Again, this is a webinar for those who are looking at bettering their relationship with money, and you're just looking at doing maybe a little more. Maybe you want to be a millionaire, billionaire, whatever that looks like for you. You want increase. Today in our real estate, we have refinance. We're going to talk about what exactly is that, types and examples. And then we're going to go over some news as well for Canadian real estate. Then in cryptocurrency, we're going to talk about ROAs and Roger Ver, question mark. And so then we have our news and updates, and we'll go over the cryptocurrency market. So let me make sure I started the recording as I frequently forget to do that. And I did. So let's jump right into it. As a disclaimer, the content here is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Oops. Right. Didn't do that. I'm not a licensed financial advisor, not a CPA, and not a lawyer. Please consult a licensed professional before making any decision. There are risks associated with investing in securities. Investing in stocks, bonds, exchange traded funds, and mutual funds, and money market funds involves risk of loss. So, consult a licensed professional. I'm not that person to consult. If you're looking at making these decisions, and I'm not held liable, you have to go over your disclaimer. And so, what exactly inspired this mastermind and this meetup? This was actually inspired by this book, Think and Grow Rich. After taking massive action on what it is that I had read from this book multiple times, then I've manifested what exactly is one's dream life in terms of thoughts to reality. Thoughts become things. And so that is evolving every single day, and we love it. And it talks about forming your own mastermind and the role that that actually plays in your success. So let's jump into real estate, talking about what exactly is refinance. So we look at real estate and cryptocurrency as two vehicles as getting you to where you'd like to be in terms of your what. Really and truly, it's not real estate people are after. It's not crypto. It's not stocks. It's not this big company. It's not this sense of control. Probably the only control is the one is control over your own life. What a lot of people really want when they check it out is that they want freedom, time freedom, locational freedom, locational freedom, and financial freedom. And so, what are the vehicles that one assesses in terms of getting you there? I don't know what it could be for you, right? But what you focus on, the what is, that's what's the more important thing. You realize that there are some vehicles that come in the way, and real estate is one of those vehicles it is that I've chosen in terms of getting to that point. And so let me jump to this refinance definition here. Again, the definitions I use are information you can get from anywhere really online. There's no specialist. None of these are secrets. It's just things that you are maybe less informed about because you interact a bit less with the content. So let's see here what we're looking at. So refinance, what is it, how it works, types and examples. So a refinance is simply revising the terms of an existing credit agreement. It's not exactly just a mortgage, it's any credit agreement. So we frequently refer to it as a refi and refers to the process of revising and replacing the terms of an existing credit agreement, usually as it relates to a loan or mortgage. When a business or an individual decides to refinance a credit obligation, they effectively seek to make favorable changes to their interest payment schedule or other terms outlined in their contract. If approved, the borrower gets a new contract and takes the place of the original agreement. That's simply all it is. So, for example, you have a loan from the bank and you realize that suddenly maybe you got a raise from work. Let's keep it simple. You have a $5,000 loan from the bank and you realize that you were earning X amount per month. Suddenly you got a raise and you're making Y amount per month. You realize that you are now able to make higher loan payments to the bank on your principal and interest. And so you go ahead and you talk with the bank and you say to them, hey, I'd like to increase how much I'm paying down on this loan. And they'll talk with you and say, hey, XYZ, this is what it is that you can do now. Or you tell them that this is what I'm looking to do, and they'll tell you what your options are. Just as an example, whether it's a bank or any kind of lender, that is. In the situation of a mortgage, particularly, so there are different types. Actually, let's go through the types. Let me just jump ahead of myself. So how a refinance works, consumers generally seek to refinance certain debt obligations in order to obtain more favorable borrowing terms. Often, this is in response to shifting economic conditions. Common goals from refinancing are to lower one's fixed interest rate, one, reduce payments over the life of the loan, change the duration of the loan, or switch from fixed to an adjustable rate mortgage or vice versa, especially as now there are different things happening with rates. There's some update all the time, and things are in a different situation with North America with that going on. One that one wants to watch a little bit closely if you would like to. More quite the economic study actually right now. Borrowers may also refinance because their credit profile has improved. So maybe you have a better credit score now because of changes made to their long-term financial plans, or to pay off existing debts by consolidating them into one low-price loan. For example, you maybe eliminate all of your credit card debt and put all of you and get a line of credit at the lower interest rate to pay off all of that. Those are options and muscles that you can actually go ahead and flex in terms of what really works best for you. So there are different types of refinancing, right? The type of loan a borrower decides to get depends on the needs of the borrower. Some of those refinancing options include one, rate and term refinancing. And that's the most common type. Rate and term refinancing occurs when the original loan is paid and replaced with a new loan agreement that requires lower interest payments, right? And so what could that look like? Same example that we utilized a while ago, right? So your rate's changing and how long it takes for you. So the rate of borrowing is changing. So maybe you went from paying 25% interest or 20% to paying 15% or 10%, 13%, for example. And as opposed to paying off this loan in 5 years, as an example, you're paying it off in now 2 years or 3 years, 3.5 years, whatever that looks like for you. For a mortgage, similarly, you're looking at a different situations in terms of maybe you realize that there's a better rate that you can get, and you go ahead and you get that rate, and your terms also changes when you go from 25-year amortization to 30 years. These are all options that you have and that you can talk about with a licensed professional. Cash outs are common when the underlying asset. So let's talk about cash out and cash in refinance. So here, what's present here is a big situation that a lot of people are not aware of. This may or may not be a good situation for you. Are common when underlying assets that collateralizes the loan has increased in value. For example, you acquired a property 2 years ago for X amount. 2 years later, this asset is now worth Y amount. So it's worth more than the original amount. This transaction involves withdrawing the value or equity in the asset in exchange for a higher loan amount and often a higher interest rate. In other words, when an asset increases in value on paper, you can gain access to that value with a loan rather than by selling it. So are you telling me, so this is what people are probably saying when they find out about this. So you're telling me that this investment property that I bought, for example, or even your own home, I'm not telling you why to go refinance your home, but if you bought an asset that, for example, let's say we're in 2024 now, 2024, and you bought the asset for example, let's say $500,000. If you bought that asset for $500,000, 500,000, and in 2025, sorry, 2020, let's use a more realistic timeline, 2027. It's worth $750,000, you're looking at a difference of 750,000 minus 500,000. That's $250,000 in what it is that we call equity that you're actually able to get tax-free in your bank account because your asset has increased in value, whether that be your home or some kind of business, whatever that looks like. So the transaction, so you withdraw the value or the equity, that's the $250,000, and the asset increases in value on paper, you gain access to that as a loan rather than by selling it. So as opposed to having to sell, lose ownership, and pay a whole bunch of fees, yes, there are fees also at refinancing, you gain access to $250,000 to do whatever it is that you'd like to do. And so this option increases the total loan amount because you're now getting a loan on 750,000 as opposed to 500,000, but gives the borrower access to cash immediately while still maintaining ownership of the asset. So maybe you need cash to do something. So this is an option that you can actually explore. Then there's a cash in refi, allows the borrower to pay down some portion of the loan for a lower loan to value ratio. So maybe your mortgage is, I don't know, $400,000, and you're actually able to pay down a lot of it. So it is that you're looking at a lower loan to value ratio, or smaller loan payments. And there's consolidation refinancing. Now, there are different pros and cons to refinancing. It's not the right thing for everybody. But pros, you can get a lower monthly mortgage payment and interest, convert it to an adjustable rate, acquire an influx of cash, or set a shorter loan term. Cons, if your loan term is reset to its original length, your total interest payment over the life of the loan may outweigh what you've actually saved at a lower rate. Now, cons, if interest rates drop, you won't get the benefit with a fixed rate mortgage unless you refinance again. You may reduce the equity you hold into your home, and your monthly payment increases with a shorter loan term, and you have to pay closing costs on the refinance. And so there are advantages and disadvantages of doing that. Assess your own personal situation and see, what exactly works out to be best there for you. So, is it the right situation for you? I don't know. And I can't tell you that it is, So sit down with whoever your lender is and ask questions. Ask questions as to what would be, maybe best for you, and make your own independent decision. So that's what refinancing is. In the real estate market in Canada, what are we looking at here? So headlines, this week's top stories. And let's see what we have here. So Canada to cut temporary resident target 20% after more than doubling. So that's by a fifth. Okay. So less temporary residents. Explosive population growth went from a boasting point to liability in less than 3 years. Wow. So simply put, a lot of people have come into Canada, and it was like, oh man, like Canada is doing all these things and people have come in. Well, no, the gravy train has stopped, and they've cut it and made it a lot more difficult for persons to come here, right? So if the government doesn't have this objective of having a lot more people come here, then there are a lot less of you who are going to go ahead and you're going to feel less confident applying. When you apply, there are going to be different strictures in place. Places want less people, and so that's going to reflect in terms of the number of temporary residents that are here. A Canadian credit card debt, so say immigration number is going down. Canadian credit card debt climbed 3 times the rate of mortgages. Canadian households are cooling on their borrowing, but the type of debt may be an important sign. StatCan data shows household credit climbed at one of the slowest rates in decades in January. The slowdown is primarily caused by slower mortgage debt growth, with credit card debt rising 3 times faster. Well, there you go. Canada ranks 11th in OECD for life satisfaction, 11, but its young adults disagree. So young people do not agree that Canada is actually 11th for this. Canadians are generally satisfied with life as long as they're older. StatCan released its Life Satisfaction 2023 survey results, The country fell just short of breaking the OECD's top 10, with the average person not quite satisfied. The biggest takeaway is the divergence by age. Most seniors are satisfied with the country, while young people are not. Canadian inflation cools as demand drops, much weaker than the US. We have there. Canadian home sales pulled back, but market close to bottom. We have their BMO saying. So, I mean, this is all the top five banks saying that. Interested to see what the other top five banks also think. And nobody has a crystal ball, really. Canada is spending 75% of its forecast deficit to prop up mortgages, propping up the mortgage market. We love that, don't we? I'm being sarcastic, by the way. If you ever thought that using a payday loan to pay off a credit card was a good idea, you're about to be all kinds of impressed because the government of Canada has begun buying billions in Canadian CMBs in a last-ditch effort to stimulate more borrowing. And so when you're looking at these situations, we're looking at it from a macroeconomic standpoint. There are a lot of different factors it is that one considers, and different things come into consideration because people ask, okay, what's this? Well, it's not so simple, Why are rates cut? Well, it's not so simple. There is a whole layer of looking at different things before saying this is probably what. It's more of like a puzzle as to what exactly central bank is looking for and then how they get to their results. So not positive things that what we're seeing there for Canadian real estate market. But hey, it is what it is. It's a game. It is that one plays, and you play to win. There are people still getting great deals out there, creating great deals. Some see risk, some see a situation of let me hold off. Some see opportunity. It's up to you as to what exactly it is that you would see. Becoming informed definitely helps in terms of going ahead and making informed decisions in terms of what to do during this market as money is fluid. There's always time there to make money, and there's always an opportunity there to make money. So, or rather, let me not say making money, getting closer to what it is that one would like. It may not be, money. So I'll stop there for now for real estate, and let's jump over to our dear friend now, Mr. Robert Kiyosaki. See where are we now in Rich Dad Poor Dad? What the rich are teaching their kids about money that the poor and the middle class do not. Many persons may have just learned what refinance here today is. A kid of somebody who's used to being around people who talk about money all the time, then they may have already know what exactly a refinance is and what exactly return on investment that we're going to be talking about is actually. So we are at actually 145. So let's jump right to it. 145, boom, jump and scroll a couple of pages. Love doing this every time I'm on here. Let me increase the zoom thing actually. So we did making a formula. Pay yourself first, the power of self-discipline. We love self-discipline. Master formula, then learning. The power of learning quickly. So last time we stopped at the power of the previous one, whatever that one was that I looked at a while ago. But we're at paying yourself first, the power of self-discipline. If you cannot get control of yourself, do not try to get rich. It makes no sense to invest, make money, and blow it. It's the lack of self-discipline that causes most lottery winners to go broke soon after winning millions. Really? So I shouldn't try to win the lottery? That's not what we're saying. We're saying, yeah, sure, you could win the lottery, but you suddenly got a windfall of cash and you have zero financial education. You're gonna blow it. You're gonna go ahead and you're gonna blow it, well, chances are that's what most people do, and they're broke again within a couple of months, years, whatever, maybe even days, who knows. It's the lack of self-discipline that causes people who get a raise to immediately go out and buy a new car or take a cruise. So you're telling me that my friend who got this big money about this new car is making a bad decision for their finances? Well, yeah, you just took on new debt or you acquired a liability. I mean, there's nothing wrong, going on a cruise, but there's a line there you're really teetering there in terms of what's best in terms of the use for your money. It's difficult to say which of the 10 steps is the most important, but of all the steps, this step is probably the most difficult to master if it's not already part of your makeup. So what are we seeing here? I would venture to say that personal self-discipline is the #1 delineating factor between the rich, the poor, and the middle class. Simply put, people who have low self-esteem and low tolerance for financial pressure can never be rich. As I've said, a lesson learned from my rich dad was that the world will push you around. The world pushes people around not because other people are bullies, but because the individual lacks internal control and discipline. People who lack internal fortitude often become victims of those who have self-discipline. In the entrepreneur classes I teach, I constantly remind people to not focus on their product, service, or widget, but to focus on developing management skills. The 3 most important management skills necessary to start your own business are management of these 3 things. 1, cash flow, 2, people, and 3, personal time. I would say the skills to manage these 3 apply to anything, not just entrepreneurs. The 3 matter in the way you live your life as an individual or as part of a family, a business, a charitable organization, a city, or a nation. Each of these skills is enhanced by the mastery of self-discipline. I do not like the saying, pay yourself first lightly. The statement, pay yourself first, comes from George Clason's book, The Richest Man in Babylon. Millions of copies have been sold, but while millions of people freely repeat that powerful statement, few follow the advice. As I said, financial literacy allows one to read numbers. The numbers tell the story. By looking at a person's income statement and balance sheet, I can readily see if people who spout the words pay yourself first actually practice what they preach. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So let's review the financial statements of people who pay themselves first against someone who doesn't. Study the diagrams and see if you can pick up some distinctions. Again, it has to do with understanding cash flow, which tells the story. Most people look at the numbers and miss the story. So let's see here. What are we looking at? So let's scroll a little bit more. So we're looking at people who pay themselves first on our income statements and our balance sheet. So on our income statement, we see where income, for example, comes from a job, but where's the money going? At first, the money is going first to saving and investing. You're telling me I shouldn't go directly and pay my bills? That's not what I'm saying to you. I'm saying if you're serious about paying yourself first, what Kiyosaki is saying is that first, money into your savings. Second, invest money into investing. And then go to your expenses, your taxes, your rent, your food. Because people are probably saying, well, I mean, I have to eat. I need to pay my electricity bill. Exactly. But still, pay yourself first. And how much is going into liabilities? Nothing. So that's what the income statement looks like. Now, do you see it? The diagram reflects the actions of individuals who choose to pay themselves first. Each month, they allocate money to their asset column before they pay their monthly expenses. Although millions of people have read Classon's book and understand the words, pay yourself first, in reality, they pay themselves last. Now, I can hear the howls from those of you who sincerely believe in paying your bills first. And I can hear all the responsible people who pay their bills on time. I'm not saying be irresponsible and not pay your bills. All I'm saying is to do what the book says, which is pay yourself first. And the previous diagram is the correct accounting picture of that action. So what do those people do? Assets and liabilities column, non-existent. As their income comes in, straight, it goes directly into what? Taxes, debt, inflation, that's for example, food and gas, and retirement. So you're telling me that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not telling you anything. I'm just the messenger from this guy who teaches financial education that maybe your parents and your family did not, and that the school system didn't. So your money is going straight into expenses every time. How exactly you build up your asset column? How do you go ahead and you start saving and you go ahead and invest? So that's what Kiyosaki is really going on about. If you can truly begin to understand the power of cash flow, you'll soon realize what's wrong with the previous diagram, or why 90% of people work hard all their lives and need government support like Social Security when they are no longer able to work. Kim and I have many book have had many have Kim and I have had many bookkeepers, accountants, and bankers who have had a major problem with this way of looking at pay yourself first. The reason is that these financial professionals actually do what the masses do. They pay themselves last. There have been times in my life when, for whatever reason, cash flow was far less than my bills. I still paid myself first. My accountant and bookkeeper screamed in panic. They're going to come after you. The IRS is going to put you in jail. They're going to ruin your credit rating. They'll cut off the electricity. I still paid myself first. Why, you ask? Because that's what that's what's the story the richest man in Babylon was all about. The power of self-discipline and the power of internal fortitude. As my rich dad taught me the first month I worked for him, most people allow the world to push them around. A bill collector calls and you pay or else. A sales clerk says, oh, just put it on your charge card. Your real estate agent tells you, go ahead. The government allows you a tax deduction on your home. That's what the book is really about. Having the guts to go against the tide and get rich. You may not be weak, but when it comes to money, many people get wimpy. I'm not saying to be irresponsible. The reason I don't have high credit card debt and do that debt is because I pay myself first. The reason I minimize my income is because I don't want to pay to the government. That's why my income comes from my asset column through a Nevada corporation. If I work for money, the government takes it. Although I pay my bills last, I'm financially astute enough to not get into a tough financial situation. I don't like consumer debt. I actually have liabilities that are higher than 99% of the population, but I don't pay for them. Other people pay for my liabilities. They're called tenants. So rule number one in paying yourself first is don't get into consumer debt in the first place. Although I pay my bills last, I set it up to have only small, unimportant bills that are due. When I occasionally come up short, I still pay myself first. I let the creditors and even the government scream. I like it when they get tough. Why? Because those guys do me a favor. They inspire me to go out and create more money. So I pay myself first, invest the money, and let the creditors yell. I generally pay them right away anyway. Kim and I have excellent credit. We just don't cave into the pressure and spend our savings or liquidate stocks to pay for consumer debt. That's not too financially intelligent. There's another one that okay, yeah, I'm almost there. To successfully pay yourself first, keep the following in mind. Don't get into large debt positions that you have to pay for. Keep your expenses low. Build up assets first. Then buy the big house or nice car. Being stuck in the rat race is not intelligent. When you come up short, let the pressure build and don't dip into your savings or investments. Use the pressure to inspire your financial genius to come up with new ways of making more money. And then you pay your bills. You will have increased your ability to make more money as well as your financial intelligence. So many times I've gotten into financial hot water and used my brain to create more income while staunchly defending the assets in my asset column. My bookkeeper screamed and dived for cover, but I was like a good soldier defending the fort assets. Poor people have poor habits. A common bad habit is innocently called dipping into savings. The rich know that savings are only used to create more money, not to pay bills. I know that sounds tough, but as I said, if you're not tough inside, the world will always push you around anyway. If you don't like financial pressure, then find a formula that works for you. A good one is to cut expenses, put your money in the bank, pay more than your fair share of income tax, buy safe mutual funds, and take the vow of the average. But this violates the pay yourself first rule. This rule doesn't encourage self-sacrifice or financial abstinence. It doesn't mean pay yourself first and starve. Life was meant to be enjoyed. If you call on your financial genius, you can have all the goodies of life, get rich, and pay bills, and that is financial intelligence. So, what are we saying here? Is this guy saying, ignore the people that want that you need to pay for your bills and don't pay yourself? No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying just, forget about your electricity, food, gas, and just pay yourself first. Ignore all of it. Well, kinda, honestly. He's saying put the money into building up your asset column, learn how to manage cash flow, people, and personal time, and go ahead and pay yourself first. And that's the power of self-discipline. And people will say, I have no self-discipline. Well, there's actually a word for that, by the way. It's called asceticism. Asceticism. That's the word for self-discipline. There's an actual word for it. So increase your self-discipline, pay yourself first, and don't go ahead and pay your bills first. Pay your bills, obviously. You need electricity, you need all of these things, but pay yourself first. And it takes time to get to that point of self-discipline. Actually, it's only a choice away. You could start tomorrow, really and truly. All right, what are you waiting for? There's no perfect time. So that's what we're looking at there in Rich Dad Poor Dad. Pay yourself first and the power of self-discipline. Then we have, so in our next part, we have part 6, pay your brokers well and the power of good advice. So that's what we are looking at there. So we've covered so far refinance in the real estate market. What exactly is it? Different types and examples. Then we went over what exactly is the real estate market in Canada looking like, news and more. And now we're on to the wild, wild west, as people would call it, the cryptocurrency market. So we're seeing here today where we have what? Let's see how much we're at. $2.65 trillion in the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin's price today is $70,351, up 4% over the last 7 days. And in terms of, for example, our definitions, what are we looking at? We're talking about ROI. So what exactly is ROI? Well, it actually stands for return on investment. So it's a ratio that measures the profitability of an investment by comparing the gain or loss to its cost. It helps assess the potential return of investments on things like stocks or business ventures. So it's usually presented as a percentage that can be calculated using a specific formula. So how do we actually go ahead and calculate that? So first, you can go ahead and use this one, net return on investment. So you invested X amount, you got Y amount. What was the cost of your initial investment? Whatever that amount is, you multiply it by 100%. So let's say that you maybe invested $100, right? Let's say, and I'll use this actual example for crypto. You bought $100 worth of Bitcoin right now, and you realize that you maybe made $10 in a couple months from now, whatever. So your net return on investment would have been you made $10 and it cost you how much to invest $100. So then you times that by 100%. So you've successfully made a 10% increase on whatever it is that you have made. You use the same calculation with, for example, real estate, investing in a business, if you're doing loans, whatever that looks like, it's the same calculation you're looking at for calculating your ROI, which is your return on investment. And that's all these things are, going over, just different types, investments and annualized ROI, etc., etc. So, calculate your ROI, and it's a very good metric to utilize when you're comparing and investing one thing as opposed to investing in something else. So we have, Bitcoin at 70,000 today. I'll go back over the crypto market and we'll end here. 70.4 thousand. That's what it is that we're at right now. So zooming out, in 2011, this thing was like 5 cents. And now we're looking at 70.4 thousand. Now this is an ROI that people want to see. I mean, you rarely see this, right? To give context to things. However, that's why, this is a high risk kind of investment, high risk, high reward, right? So there's $2.565 trillion in the crypto market. 52% is in Bitcoin. Halving is coming up in a couple of days, 25 days actually. 16.3% is in Ethereum. And so that's what the crypto market looks like. Overall, let's see what we're looking at over the last 7 days here. Where so far we're seeing BNB is up 6%. Dogecoin, meme coin is up 23%. Toncoin is up 38%. Shiba Inu is up 8%. So far we have Toncoin winning and Dogecoin winning so far. Bitcoin Cash and Roger Ver, I won't go for that today actually, is up 25%. ICP is up 40%. Roger Ver is actually has been one of the big proponents for Bitcoin Cash. If you go to St. Kitts and Nevis, he has a lot of different, you'll actually have to pay in Bitcoin Cash a lot of different places, and he has a lot of relations there. When I went there, I saw it for myself actually. I hadn't been there until then, and there I was like, oh, like this is what I've been reading about all along. So far, ICP is up 40%. Wow, 40% in the last 7 days. Aptos is up 16%. Stocks is up 37%. Immutable X is up 10%. Optimism is up 16%. Pepe is running, it's at 20%. Phantom is up 26%. Phantom Layer 1 blockchain. Rune Protocol, Thorchain is up 11%. LeaderDAO up 33%. ARWeave up 28%. Floki Inu, of course, is up 31% over the last 7 days. Gala is up 16%. Conflux is up 28%. Bitcoin SV is up 10%. Synthetics up 31%. I'm just going to scroll through to about 200. Look at this. Ondo, this thing has been going crazy the past couple of days. It's up 102% over the last 7 days. Look at that. 22%. IOS is up 22%. So that's a top 100 so far. So we're already seeing some crazy numbers. Let's see. Let's see if we have anything else crazy going on there. Nervous Network is up 29%. And you know, the funny thing is, when you look at a lot of these cryptocurrencies, a lot of them the altcoins are still not at their all-time highs when you zoom in and you look at the chart like what you do with Bitcoin. Pendle is up 54%. And simple question people normally ask, is it the wrong time to buy Bitcoin because it's at its all-time high? I can't answer that for you. I can't tell you yes or no. I can tell you that when people bought, for example, you know, here at this point, they thought that they were buying it when it was really high. And look at where we are now. Investing 10% action, 90% waiting, right? Just like you buy a house, and the example we're using in terms of refinancing in a couple of years, you buy a property, you have to give it time in order to go ahead and appreciate over time. Let demand and supply do its thing. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we have any other crazy numbers. Terra Luna is up 40%. Really, seriously. Gate token is up 20%. Lots of people using Gate.io. Book of Meme, the meme coin is still going. It's up 40%. Wow. Core is up 44%. FTX token is up 15%. Seriously? So those one coin crashed, the other exchange crashed, and these coins are still going. Still have people holding. Well, you mean people are looking for a return on there. So you still have buyers and sellers in the market. XDC is up 10%. And let me go all the way, see if there's anything else crazy, and I'll stop there. Reserve rights is up 87%. Wow. ETHFi is up 33%. Wow. This token that had I know some people that got airdrops from this recently, up 33%. Polymesh is up 190%. DEX is up 26%. So we're seeing some crazy numbers. Wow. And some new coins actually hitting the top 200. Guild fee is one, that's up 51% now. So lots of crazy stuff happening there in the cryptocurrency market. And what are some people are loving their ROIs right now? You know, don't invest more than you're willing to lose. Stick by your investing principles and move forward and do your thing. Well, that's that for episode 76. Thanks for joining us. I'm gonna cut off now, and I'm gonna be on Zoom. So let me pause this live, and I'm gonna stop the recording. See you again next week. And we're on to letter, what letter would we be at now? R, Q, R, S, S. Oh, I'm sure we have a lot of options with S here. So with that being said, take care, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording now. And I'm going to stop the live stream. Live stream. Stop. Recording. Stop.